Welcome to PBS 39 Scholastic Scrimmage. Scholastic Scrimmage is brought to you by the members of PBS 39 and by
Scholastic Scrimmage is sponsored by St. Luke's University Health Network, the region's leading provider of medical education. For more than 100 years, St. Luke's has been dedicated to educating physicians, nurses, and healthcare professionals. To learn more, call St. Luke's InfoLink, toll free at 866 St. Luke's, or visit sluhn.org.
Support for PBS 39's educational programming is provided by the Deluxe Corporation Foundation, proud to support quality programming on PBS 39.
And now your host, Dr. Karen Walton, Provost DeSales University.
Welcome to Scholastic Scrimmage. This is the second contest of the 2015-2016 academic year. It's also the 42nd year that PBS 39 has brought you this academic competition. I'm Karen Walton, and I'm delighted to be your host. From now until May, the best and brightest students from 31 schools will compete for the honor of being the Scholastic Scrimmage champions. At the end of the season, the two final teams will win scholarships for their schools from the Air Products Foundation. Let's meet the team from Penn Argyl High School.
I'm Max Paliselli, and I'm a senior.
I'm Grace Olzinski, and I'm a senior.
I'm Ryan Hauk, and I'm a senior.
I'm Amanda Rumeiser, and I'm a senior.
Penn Argyl's coach is Tim Snelling. And now the team from Jim Thorpe High School.
My name is Takumi Hawes, and I'm a junior.
I'm Maggie Holloway, and I'm a junior.
I'm Steven Haramidra, and I'm a senior.
I'm Emily Layden, and I'm a senior.
Jim Thorpe's coach is Shelley Miller. The judges for today's contest are Sally Campbell, retired English teacher, and Dr. Gary DeLeo, professor of physics at Lehigh University. Remember that the questions on Scholastic Scrimmage demand rapid recall of factual information and are not necessarily indicative of academic training. We understand the rules, so let's begin the contest with a toss-up in U.S. history. In this July 1863 battle fought by the troops of General Lee and General Meade, the total casualties exceeded 50. It is Jim Thorpe. Tukami?
The Battle of Gettysburg.
Is correct. What is this three-day battle called? Bonus. A famous chronicler of the war between the states was a New York photographer who accompanied the armies through much of the fighting. Name this man whose photographs captured the horror of the U.S. Civil War. Margaret?
Hicks.
It was Matthew Brady. Next toss-up is in biology. Multiple choice. Which of the following is thought to be the most abundant protein on Earth? Is it A, rubisco, B, albumin, C, hemoglobin, or D, myosin? It's A, rubisco. Next toss-up is in language arts. What literary form consists of 14 lines grouped in 3 quatrains and a couplet? Jim Thorpe?
A sonnet.
Can you be more specific?
A Shakespearean sonnet.
Shakespearean sonnet is correct, and your bonus. Identify the type of sonnet, usually consisting of an octave, followed by a sestet.
Petrarchan.
Margaret?
A Petrarchan sonnet.
That is correct, or Italian is another possibility. Toss up in U.S. history. While this man was president, the Cumberland Road was started. Indiana became a state, and Napoleon invaded Russia. Who was he? James Madison. Toss up in mathematics. What is the volume of a sphere whose radius is 3 inches? It is 36 pi cubic inches. The volume is equal to 4/3 pi r cubed. That's the formula. Toss up in world literature. From what country does Henrik Ibsen come? Norway. Chemistry. Alice in Wonderland changed size when she consumed the liquid labeled Drink Me. If you drink a liquid containing 1,3,7-trimethylxanthine, what does your drink contain? Caffeine. Next toss-up is in U.S. history. During the Civil War, Union General Sherman burned a state capitol and then destroyed a 60-mile wide path from that capital to the sea. In which southern state? Jim Thorpe.
Georgia.
Is correct, and your bonus. U.S. history again, of course. George Washington Carver greatly improved life in the post-Civil War South through his agricultural research at Tuskegee Institute. In what state is Tuskegee Institute located?
Is it Alabama?
Margaret?
Alabama.
Yes. Toss up in U.S. geography. You are visiting Charleston, Huntington, and Wheeling. You must be in what state? Jim Thorpe.
South Carolina.
Over to Penargil.
North Carolina.
It is West Virginia, Wheeling, West Virginia. Next toss-up is in algebra. 2 trains leave the same station at 9 a.m. One traveling north at 80 miles per hour, and the other traveling south at 60 miles per hour. At what time will they be 350 miles apart? It is at 11:30 a.m. The next toss-up is in physics, multiple choice. What is the term for a light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation? Is it A, solar energy, B, cosmic rays, C, plasma, or D, laser? Jim Thorpe.
D, laser.
Is correct. And your bonus, multiple choice. What is light subtraction? Is it A, how things that do not give off light are colored? B, shutting off light beams to create a darkened void? Or C, using the color spectrum to see if stars are moving away from Earth?
What do you think?
C.
Margaret?
Oh, C.
It is A, how things that do not give off light are colored. Next toss-up is in world history. Herculaneum is on the other side of Mount Vesuvius from what famous city? Jim Thorpe.
Pompeii.
And your bonus. Both cities, Herculaneum and Pompeii, were buried by the ash from the volcanic eruption of Mount Vesuvius in what year?
Any idea?
It was 79 BC. Toss up in world literature. In the Bible, what is the Pentateuch? It's the first 5 books of the Old Testament. Next toss-up is in mathematics. Solve the inequality on the monitor in the real number system, and it is the absolute value of 2x plus 1 is less than or equal to 5. Jim Thorpe?
X equals 4.
Will you repeat that, please?
X equals 4.
It will go over to Penargil. Ryan?
X equals 2.
It is x greater than or equal to negative 3, x less than or equal to 2. Next toss-up is in music. Listen to this well-known sonata. Identify the composer or the title of the music. Jim Thorpe?
Moonlight Sonata.
It is, in fact, by Beethoven. And your bonus. During what musical period were most of Beethoven's works composed?
Classical.
Margaret?
Classical?
Yes.
Cool.
Next toss-up is in biology, multiple choice. A short day plant would be most likely to bloom in which of the following months? A, April, B, June, C, August, or D, January? Jim Thorpe?
January.
January is correct. That's the shortest day. And your bonus for 5 points each. What is the light detecting pigment in plants called?
Chlorophyll?
It is called phytochrome. Second, plants use which part of the light spectrum to determine day versus night? Margaret?
White light?
It is the red or far red. Toss up in world geography. Which country of more than 13,600 islands is divided by some geographers into the Great Sunda Islands, the Lesser Sunda Islands, and the Moluccas? Jim Thorpe?
Indonesia.
Is correct, and your bonus. 3/4 of which island belongs to Indonesia, while the other 1/4 is made up of Brunei and the 2 Malaysian states of Sarawak and Sabah? Margaret?
Java?
It is Borneo. Toss up in U.S. history. The first 10 amendments to the Constitution are collectively known as what? It is Penargil. Max?
The Bill of Rights.
Correct, and your bonus. For 5 points each, answer these questions with the number of the amendment that assures the freedom. First, protection against unreasonable search and seizure. It's the 4th, and then the right to keep and bear arms.
Second.
Is correct. And next toss-up is in American literature. Tennessee Williams' first work to be produced was a collection of 4 one-act plays called American Blues. Name his full-length play that was first produced in 1947 with the extraordinary cast of Jessica Tandy, Kim Hunter, Carl Malden, and Marlon Brando as Stanley Kowalski? Jim Thorpe?
Streetcar Named Desire.
And your bonus, for 5 points each, name the 2 leading female characters who are sisters in Streetcar Named Desire.
Stella and Blanche.
Margaret?
Stella and Blanche.
That is correct. I will take those. Will the judges, or must we? They will take that. It's, of course, Blanche Dubois and Stella Kowalski. Just one of my very favorite plays. Fabulous. It's halftime. The halftime score is Jim Thorpe, 120, Penn Argyl, 15. In the first round, we asked the students to tell us something about a role model that they have or an idol. So let's begin with Penn Argyl. Max?
My role model is Obi-Wan Kenobi from Star Wars because he is wise beyond his years.
All right. And you're awaiting the next one in Star Wars, yes?
I am, yes.
Grace?
My role model is Ron Paul because he isn't afraid to speak his mind, though his views are different than others.
Thank you. Ryan?
My role model is Nelson Mandela because he stood up for what he believed in.
Thank you. And Amanda?
My role model is John Lasseter because of his dedication and perseverance.
Let's go over to Jim Thorpe, to Kumi.
My role models are my parents because they support me and they push me to do my best.
Margaret?
My role models are my parents because they're always there for me.
Stephen?
My role models are also my parents for always being there.
And Emily?
My role model is my mom for teaching me everything I know.
Thank you. Thank you all. Next toss-up is in mathematics, multiple choice. Which of the 3 equations on the monitor corresponds to the graph on the monitor? Is it A, y is equal to 4 minus x? Or is it B, y is equal to x cubed minus x? Or is it C, y is equal to Jim Thorpe?
C.
It is C, y is equal to radical 4 minus x squared. Bonus. Is the function represented by the graph on the monitor even, odd, both even and odd, or neither even nor odd? This is a bonus, so Jim Thorpe, Margaret must answer.
Even. Okay.
Margaret?
Even.
It is odd. F of x is equal to the opposite of f of the opposite of x. Next toss-up is in the arts, multiple choice. The tall pillar-like figures seen on the monitor are typical of which art style? Is it A, Greek, B, Gothic, C, Renaissance, or D, Neoclassical? It is B, Gothic. Toss-up in U.S. history. The most serious crisis in American government since the impeachment of Andrew Johnson occurred in the 1970s. Name this crisis. Penn Argyl, Ryan?
The Watergate scandal?
Watergate is correct. Resignation of Nixon. And your bonus. This national health insurance program for low-income people was established by Congress in 1965. Name this plan. Ryan?
Medicare?
It is Medicaid. Next toss-up is in U.S. geography. Identify the Alabama city where the Dexter Avenue King Memorial Baptist Church and the first White House of the Confederacy. Jefferson Davis. Jim Thorpe. Margaret?
Montgomery.
Montgomery is correct. You didn't need the other part of the question. And your bonus. Identify the Alabama city where the Redstone Arsenal, U.S. Space and Rocket Center, and George C. Marshall Space Flight Center are located. Margaret?
Birmingham.
It's in Huntsville. Toss up in Pennsylvania history. And now a video question.
The Bethlehem Steel Corporation produced steel for many of the country's most prominent landmarks. Name one of these landmarks. I'll give you a hint. The most notable are in New York and California.
Penargil, Grace?
The Golden Gate Bridge.
That is correct. Others are George Washington Bridge, Rockefeller Center, Hoover Dam, and so on and so forth. Bonus for Penargil. In 1916, this graduate of Lehigh University became president of Bethlehem Steel. He oversaw the company during both World Wars, the Depression, and America's skyscraper boom era. Name this man. It was Eugene Grace. Toss-up in chemistry. Any chemical substance that provides visual evidence of the nature of the chemical system. Jim Thorpe.
Indicator.
Is an indicator. And your bonus. I'll give you a list of common scientific relationships with one item of each relationship left out. For 5 points each, supply the missing items. Ice is to steam as what is to carbon dioxide? Margaret?
Dry ice.
Correct. Temperature is to a thermometer as what is to a barometer? Margaret?
Pressure. Air pressure.
Air pressure is correct. Toss-up in mathematics. By definition, 0 factorial equals what integer? Penargil, Ryan, or was it not Ryan? It was Max, okay?
1
is correct, and your bonus, paper and pencil. A college student is preparing her course schedule for the next semester. She may select one of 2 mathematics courses, one of 3 science courses, one of 5 social science courses. In how many ways can she select her 3-course schedule? Ryan?
35.
It is 30. 2 times 3 times 5. Next toss-up is in chemistry. In the ideal gas equation shown on the monitor, what name is given to R? It is the universal gas constant, or the ideal gas constant. Next toss-up is in language arts. English verbs can indicate mood. In addition to indicative and imperative, what is the third mood? Subjunctive. Mathematics is your next toss-up. Paper and pencil. On a scale drawing of a room, the dimensions are 2.5 inches by 2.25 inches. If the scale is 1/4 inch equals 2 feet, what are the actual dimensions of the room? (20 feet by 18 feet. Next toss-up is in biology. The human brain is one of the most fascinating and baffling organs of the body. The brain is divided into 3 main parts. Which division is the area which controls sight? Penargil?
The parietal lobe.
Over to Jim Thorpe. It's the cerebrum. Next toss-up is in world history, multiple choice. You're going to write a history of the 15th century. Which of these topics will you not include? First, Joan of Arc. 2, the War of the Roses. 3, the Third Crusade. And 4, Florentine Renaissance art. Jim Thorpe,
Joan of Arc.
over to Penn Argyl. Grace?
The Renaissance art.
Third Crusade was in the 12th century. Next toss-up is in mathematics. If a plus b is equal to 1/5 and a minus b equals 3/4, find a squared minus b squared. It is 3/20. Remember, a squared minus b squared factors into a plus b, a minus b. Next toss-up is in British literature. In Hamlet, Prince of Denmark, Shakespeare creates characters that help us understand Hamlet through contrast to him. What are these characters called? Jim Thorpe?
Dramatic foils.
Is correct, and your bonus? Hamlet's foils are visible to us as well as to him. For 5 points each, to whom does Hamlet refer in the following quotations? Quote, examples gross as earth exhort me. Witness this army of such mass and charge, led by a delicate and tender prince whose spirit, with divine ambition puffed, makes mouths at the invisible event. It is Fortinbras, and you would get another part, but the contest is over and you are the winners. The final score is Jim Thorpe, 165, Penn Argyl, 40. Our thanks to Penn Argyl High School for being with us. Congratulations to Jim Thorpe High School. You'll be with us in a second round later in the season. Thank you for watching and supporting these excellent students. Please join us next week for another contest on Scholastic Scrimmage.
Scholastic Scrimmage is brought to you by the members of PBS 39 and by
the Deluxe Corporation Foundation, proud to support quality programming on PBS 39.